www.alexjonespodcast.com.
Exactly. And, it was 12 against 1. I counted 12 guys at one point surrounding my car. So, literally, I counted.
Yeah.
And it's on my camcorder. I had a camcorder with me, but, of course, they confiscated my camcorder. I still don't have it back to this day.
But you were able to catch some of this on video beforehand?
Well, not the beating, obviously. But
obviously.
Because at that point, my camera launched and shut off and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I had a camera. I wasn't holding it, but it was just setting on my dash during a lot of this. But I don't have that camera. It's a $400 camcorder. I don't have it to this day. They confiscated it from me.
So let's get into this now.
I'm trying to get it back.
Exactly. You end up having not only get charged, I'm not sure what they charged you with, but it wasn't like obstruction of justice or assaulting a police officer, something totally and completely ridiculous?
None of that, because here's the thing. That is so far from the truth. They didn't even try to accuse me of any of those things.
Okay.
This is what they accused me of. Failure to obey the officer's order, because he told me to open the car door. So I got charged with failure to obey the officer's order, and I got charged with obstructing the highway and this is their warped rationale. They stopped me, but because I didn't cooperate fast enough, I was the one blocking the road, even though I was asking to leave the whole time. They're charging me with blocking one of the lanes of the checkpoint.
And it doesn't even end there. It's not like they.
And they're both misdemeanors.
Yeah, and it's not like they just charge you and let you on your way. You have to spend a night in jail.
Oh yeah. First I went to the emergency room, and got 11 stitches put in my head. Then I spent the night in jail, and I don't know what's happening. I don't know when I'm going to see the judge. I'm just laying in the cell. I have no sense of time, and it wasn't until late the next morning, like past 11 o'clock, that I was hauled out before the judge, which was on a video screen. It wasn't really a flesh and blood judge that was there. So
it's unbelievable. Unbelievable. So where is this at now? That's the big question. We're a few weeks down the line. They've charged you. Have you been to court since? Are lawyers talking to you? How can we help? This is a big deal.
It is a big deal. And it's an even bigger deal if we just let this kind of stuff go on, because then you're encouraging it, really, if you let it happen. Where this is at is obviously I have to get declared not guilty of these 2 misdemeanors. So I have a lawyer, Mark Victor, is who's representing me, and he's a great lawyer, and so I'm very confident in him. I dropped $4,000 cash the day after this happened on a lawyer just so that I wouldn't have to go to the arraignment without some representation, because I was just, wondering, what are these people going to do to me? As I started seeing how unfair this whole thing was.
Not to mention the damage to your car. I'm sure that at least ran you a few hundred, if not $1,000.
$800 is what I paid, when I got my car out. So, but anyway, I don't know if you have time in this segment. I wanted to read for you the latest and greatest that I just got in the mail from the prosecutor.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a couple minutes in this segment and then 5 on the other side. So let's read that.
Okay, let me read this for you. This will blow you away. This is from John R. Smith, Yuma County Attorney William P. Cate. Okay, listen to this. The state of Arizona, through the office of the Yuma County Attorney by the undersigned deputy, hereby moves this court to deny the defendant's request for modification of his current conditions of release. Let me just explain real quick. I had asked for permission to leave Arizona. This happened 3 weeks ago, and I'm trying to run my business, and they're saying I can't leave Arizona, even though it's just misdemeanor.
Oh, you're a flight risk now? Is that what they're trying to say? You're a flight risk?
Permission to be able to leave Arizona, just even by car, just to go outside Arizona, because my job requires me to do that. Well, this is the prosecutor's letter of why I should not be allowed to leave because of, this misdemeanor. Mr. Anderson's proposed excursion involves the use of state and federal highways as well as potentially United States Border Patrol checkpoints. Mr. Anderson poses a substantial danger to motorists and law enforcement personnel due to his disregard for the exercise of lawful authority on state and federal roadways. Mr. Anderson has previously displayed an overt willingness to obstruct a major highway and place in jeopardy the health, safety, and welfare of law enforcement personnel and fellow motorists. There is no reason to believe that Mr. Anderson will comply with lawful authority and responsibly use highways and potentially checkpoints on his journey. Did you catch that? They're saying that I shouldn't leave Arizona because if I go through a checkpoint, I might be a danger to the law enforcement personnel.
Yeah, meanwhile,
so
you take a beating.
They beat the living fire out of me, but yet I'm supposedly endangering them. Can you believe that?
It's unbelievably incredible. It's so Orwellian. It is off the charts. We'll be back after this with Stephen Anderson. It's the Info Warrior. PrisonPlanet.com, Infowars.com. Stephen, when is your next court date, and how can people help?
Well, we're not even having the pre-trial conference until June 11th. Mm-hmm. But I say the biggest thing people can do to help is just to get the word out on this, because people need to find out about this. I think that this is happening all the time, because these guys didn't act like it was a big deal. Mm-hmm. They took it very nonchalantly, and they seemed like this was just another day at the office for them. And so that makes me wonder how many other people they're beating and abusing who just aren't maybe as vocal as I am, or didn't have the sense to just, before I even got to the house when I was on my way home from jail, to take it to YouTube.
Yeah, that was genius, by the way. I mean, when I saw that, I said, this guy is one of the smartest guys out there, because he immediately put this on YouTube, and it really did have a viral effect, and hopefully this will help you in the long run. I mean, first of all, you're a pastor. I'm sure you probably don't have a criminal record. They found nothing.
No, I've never been arrested in my entire life.
Yeah, I mean, they found nothing in your car, and I mean, your face says it all. I mean, not only does your face say it with the injuries, but everything you're saying, I mean, you're telling the truth. Anybody looking at you can tell that you're telling the truth. And I mean, I wish you the best. I hope that you're able to beat this system, because you know these guys are all going to lie under oath. Oh, he came in, he was so violent, he took a swing at me.
Well, no, but you know what, though, Jason? The good thing is, I've already started getting a lot of their versions of the story in the mail from the attorney. Mm-hmm. I've already got several of them in possession, and really they're not contradicting anything that I've said about the beating at all. They're basically, thank God they're not getting too crazy with it. Now, they're leaving stuff out. The way they put it is kind of like this. Mm-hmm. We broke both windows at the same time. We tased them, and then we had to tase them again because they were taking too long to get them out of the car. And it's the way they tell it, it's kind of like, well, we took them out of the car, and then, boy, we noticed these big cuts on his head. But they conveniently leave out where the wounds came from, which is the hand that shoved my head into the glass. So they don't really. I think the biggest lie is the omission of parts of the story.
Well, I got to ask you: are they still sticking to their story that the dog identified that you either had drugs or a body in your car? Are they sticking to that lie?
Right. They're basically. It's exactly like my YouTube video. When you look at their statement, they say the dog alerted. I say it didn't, and all I did was just ask for that to be confirmed or explained to me, and they never would. Mm-hmm. And they say in their reports that they didn't want to bring the dog back out, so they didn't. So I mean, the reports substantiate everything in my video. Nothing really contradicts anything about the beating or anything. They just conveniently leave out that part. It's kind of like I was just taken out of the car and then magically all these wounds appeared on my head. They just kind of leave that part out up to the imagination, I guess.
Stephen, what's your YouTube channel so people can go check out this video and others if they haven't seen it?
It's S. Anderson 1611.
S. Anderson?
SANDER 1611.
Well, we're behind you here, and if there's any kind of support people over at InfoWars can give you, we're going to give it to you, because this is just, it's really a sign of the times, and it shows what the mentality is out there of law enforcement officials and how they treat American citizens, and they don't treat them with respect. They don't treat them like they're human beings. They treat them like animals. And, I mean, it is beyond appalling to me what happened to you in these last 30 seconds or so. Why don't you just give how you feel about this whole situation and really the state of the country?
Well, let me, in the 30 seconds, there's one more thing I really wanted to say, and that's I did get permission from the judge to leave the state, and I'm in Texas right now. And I went through a Border Patrol checkpoint today, and a Border Patrol agent said, "Where are you heading today, sir?" And I said, "That's none of your business." And he let me go. That was 5 hours ago.
Well, that's the way it should be. I mean, you obviously aren't a criminal. You pose no threat, and we wish you the best here at InfoWars, and we really hope that, you give us an update after that first thing in June. It's the Info Warrior with Jason Burmis. We'll be back taking your calls after